Alright there everyone, how's it going? So, we're back again, reviewing some more animated films with Mr. Scott. So,
Hello. So any progress on making my mic quality better for this? Has any been made at all?
I don't know man, it sounds a bit better in the other ones. I tried to mute certain parts and make it sound better with the... I can't remember what the tool's called. It's the tool on Final Cut when you can move the sound up and down and mute certain parts of the video and make other parts louder.
Yeah. I think it's just the way we're recording my mic or something, because like I said, my quality sounds okay on like my streams and other things. It's just, I think, the way you're recording it, possibly.
Yeah.
I don't actually know how you're recording.
I just record it through a Blue Yeti mic on Final Cut.
Yeah, that's probably why it's getting recorded through several processes.
Okay. But,
Anyway.
yeah, let's get into it then. Despicable Me, baby! So, this film's alright, it's just a bit childish. Like, I know animated films are meant for kids, but, like, Despicable Me, it's good, but the animation's a bit babyish. The story's good. I like the villain perspective stuff, I like Gru's arc's okay, you know.
It was Illumination. Their kind of formula is they don't really try properly once they know it works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, once they know it works, they kind of stop trying.
Yeah.
Kind of their whole thing. It's not a good, but it's what they do.
Yeah. So yeah, the story follows this geezer called Gru, and he's just... The reason why he's a bad guy is because his mum said to him... No, he wanted to be a spaceman, and his mum said to him, they're not sending monkeys to the moon anymore, son. So then he got really upset about that. And that's why he's a villain, and he's become quite successful at being a villain. The bank kept giving him money, but some of his schemes worked. He stole... I think he stole the Leaning Tower of Pisa, or a small model of... the Eiffel Tower.
He stole the Jumbotron
That's
from,
it.
And he stole the small, Statue of Liberty from Las Vegas, as well as the Eiffel Tower from Las Vegas.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So, he's not the worst villain in the world, but he's,
Also, the reason the bank gave him money is because he's taking out loans to do his schemes, except very few of them actually ever have a proper payoff.
Yeah, true. So the bank manager isn't too happy about this.
Yeah, because that's what, the thing, because that's actually one of the dialogues when the bank guy, is talking to Gru. If they don't start seeing, their money back, he crushes the apple, and it's get the picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Gru has this idea to steal a shrink ray in order to steal the moon. Which honestly is a really dumb idea, because if the moon disappeared, we would have high tide and everything.
Yeah, I was about to say, it keeps the sea, the sea sort of, it makes the sea go back and forth.
Yeah, it keeps the tide level. If the moon disappears, our world would get flooded, literally.
Yeah.
But the shrink ray he goes to steal is stolen by another villain known as Vector, who, this guy is a meme.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, Vector is a meme. Nothing else can really be said about him otherwise.
But he's quite a good meme, though.
Yeah. Gru tries to steal it back from Vector, but finds that Vector's base is significantly better gunned than his. And a lot of that is because it's revealed later that Vector is the son of the guy who owns the bank. So he probably has God knows how much funding towards his base and other things.
Yeah.
Right. So then Gru realizes that Vector is a guy who likes cookies, because these Girl Scouts basically just walk right into his base so he can buy cookies. So Gru gets an idea of using them to get into the base and, get the shrink ray back. But, of course, so Gru ends up adopting these 3 orphan girls for his plan. And then, that's basically the general plot of the movie. Though as the movie goes on, Gru actually does grow an attachment to these girls. And actually does end up caring about them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when he does get the shrink ray, because I think he gets the shrink ray, but then he's forced to give them up because his associate believes that they're getting in the way of the plan.
Isn't it Dr. Nefario?
Yeah, like he believes that they're distracting Gru from the big pic, from what Gru's plan was. So Gru had to give them up. But then Vector ends up kidnapping the girls, and basically he demands the moon in exchange for them, which Gru accepts to. Except Vector decides not to hand them over because asshole.
Because he's just a pillar. So
yeah. So Gru ends up breaking into his base to get them back, as we find out that the shrink ray doesn't permanently shrink something, it grows back after a while, and the bigger the object, the quicker it regrows. So that means the moon is also going to return back to normal size after a short while. So that ends up being the climax, more or less.
yeah.
The minions are they were tolerable in the first movie, but then they just gradually got worse as it went on.
Yeah, they just sort of talk gibberish all the time, and that's
yeah,
it.
like they were okay. They were okay characters for the first one because, like, oh yeah, okay, they're just something there for the kids to laugh at. Fair enough, that's harmless. You know. But then, like, as the movies went on and they got their own fucking spin-off, they just got worse and worse.
Yeah.
To the point, like I said, they got their own spin-off movie, which we may or may not talk about here. Depends if we want to bother with that.
I don't think it deserves to be talked about, to be honest.
It doesn't. It's one of those kids probably saw it because it featured the Minions, and as I said, the Minions are a hit among kids because they were goofy and kids will find anything funny. But among adults, they're the worst fucking era.
Yeah. I mean, they're just annoying, loud, obnoxious. But they gave Illumination a lot of merch money, so that's why they're just throwing at people.
That's why they got their own spin-off. And apparently they're getting a sequel.
I don't know. I mean, the Penguins film, which we forgot to talk about, I think, did you briefly mention the Penguins film? I can't remember.
I don't believe I did.
But, like, the Penguins film, even though they got their own show, but the Penguins film doesn't get a sequel, but this Minions garbage gets a sequel. Ridiculous.
Yeah, the sequel, that's because they left the first one like a not really cliffhanger, where it shows the Minions going with Kid Gru, and the sequel's apparently called The Rise of Gru.
Ah, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, I think they set that up deliberately to get a sequel, because they figured a lot of kids would go see it.
I'm just going to look up the Minions film quickly and see how much it made. But yeah, overall...
It probably made a lot via kids going to see it, but it's not a well-liked movie amongst anyone with 2 brain cells.
Yeah, IMDb 6.4, Rotten Tomatoes 55%, but Facebook gave it a 4.4 out of 5. What a laugh.
That's Facebook, though.
Yeah, true.
Rarely can you ever take what they say on actual value.
The main thing, bloody hell, 1.1 billion. Are you having a laugh?
I told you, like, it's a lot of kids went to see it, and they were obviously little kids because they didn't understand how, like, annoying of a thing it was.
Yeah.
But at this point, like, the fucking Minions have just become the mascots of Illumination. They're fucking everywhere.
Yeah, aren't they in Illumination's intro as well?
Yeah, they are now.
Oh, God.
They weren't prior, but they are now.
Quite worrying, really.
It is. That's because it's like I said, Illumination's main thing is they stop trying once they have something. They have the Minions, so now they stop trying because they know the Minions will get them sales from, like, little kids.
Yeah. But
and that's basically what they're aiming at, to try and, well, to try and, like, fund their stuff, is they're hoping kids go see the movie. Even though, at the dismay of their parents' sanity.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so, Despicable Me 1, decent movie. It's definitely the best of the Despicable Me trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's after Despicable Me that Illumination stopped trying. Because that's when they hit their gold mine of the Minions.
You know what's quite sad? They're going to remake Shrek, Illumination, or...
Oh, God.
Did you hear about it?
I have not heard about that, but now you said that, I've lost more faith.
I think in 2021 they're going to remake it.
Please, like, Is it a full-on remake, or is it another unneeded sequel?
It's not a sequel, no, it's just a remake.
Okay, so it's actually a full-on remake.
I think DreamWorks have or Illumination have bought DreamWorks or something.
Oh god. No.
I think Shrek 5. But it's not 5.
I have low hopes if Illumination bought DreamWorks and are doing, given their whole thing.
Yep, Untitled
Yeah.
Shrek reboot 2022.
But I feel like it's not going to be as good as the original. They're going to throw in a bunch. They're going to illuminate it, basically. That's what I'm referring to it as now when Illumination do anything that fucks something over.
Plot unknown, a reboot of the epic animated Shrek franchise. Oh, God. The thing is, when I was a kid, I really wanted a Shrek 5 for some reason. But looking back on it, the arc's over. Shrek's a family man.
I think it's one of those, as a kid, you just kind of want to see more, but as like an adult or teen, you kind of like, you can appreciate when the story is over and needs to end.
Yeah, it's over. What else would they do? Some crazy road trip or something stupid, you know?
I mean, wouldn't put it past them. They've done stuff like that before to make sequels for movies that were not needed.
Yeah, true.
Like, how do we make a sequel to this? Road trip, yes.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, I have a feeling this will get cancelled because how would you reboot Shrek? They're just going to tell the same first story about bloody Lord Farquaad.
Either they alter the story and make it unrecognisable, which I guarantee you will get them hate from the fans.
Yeah.
Or they basically just tell the story over again with updated animation and people still complain that it's not the original.
Yeah.
You can't win, basically, rebooting a movie like Shrek, because it's seen as an icon, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like, you can't win rebooting it.
Yeah,
It's not gonna happen.
as I said, the arc's over, the characters are done. There's a lot of films that you want to see more of, but the thing is, it leaves you wanting more, so you have good memories of it. Sometimes when you give them more, it ends up being a bag of crap.
Yeah, like, it's always good to accept, like, a good saying I like is, don't be sad that it's over, be happy that it happened.
That's a good saying.
Yeah. Like, it's one of those, yes, we want to probably see more Shrek, but we should be happy that Shrek happened to begin with, and then be sad that it's over.
Yeah.
I would rather, like, the movies end on a good note where the arc is finished, rather than pull a Simpsons and keep going years after it should have ended.
Yeah, The Simpsons really should have ended at the film, to be honest.
It really should. Like, Simpsons should have ended seasons ago. And the thing is, like, it's not just the fact that they keep going, they've butchered the characters now. Like, Homer is nothing like he used to be.
Yeah.
They've really dumbed him down. Because the thing is, in the original Simpsons, Homer wasn't actually as much of a dumbass as you would believe.
Yeah, he was just some dude who messed up sometimes, but it was funny.
Yeah, but everyone does.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
That's why it's good.
Yeah. But, anyway, let's move on to Despicable Me 2 then. I went to see this in the cinema with my family when it came out, but I just can't remember a thing from it. I know the Minions turned purple. I know that... Didn't Gru have a brother in it or something?
Yeah, that's 3.
Oh, 3.
Okay. So, Despicable Me 2. This was an obvious cash grab from the success of the first Despicable.
Yeah, I mean, the arc was over, really. It was finished.
Yeah.
So no need for a sequel.
A organisation that are like... so... A group of scientists in Russia, I think, have developed a serum, which is then stolen by a villain. Right? This organization, who are like basically special fucking agents, are sent after to try and get it, and they end up recruiting Gru, because Gru is a villain and knows how villains think. And there's the whole Gru was kind of already on their radar because he stole the moon.
Yeah.
Because I think the way they put it is, like, they don't care about petty crimes like murder and that. It's like, say you try, like, I think the examples they give of, like, that get you on their radar is, like, try and melt the ice caps or steal the moon. Then now we're interested.
Yeah.
So they said they would have probably gone for Gru anyway, but so Gru was kind of already on their radar, even though he retired from being a villain. So, yeah, Gru is recruited to try and help them catch this villain, and of course, the person he's working with ends up being his love interest, as his adopted daughters from the first movie are like, at least the youngest one wants a mom.
Yeah.
So she's trying to so when she sees Gru's co-worker, she starts doing as kids do, fantasizing.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of like pushing them closer. Yep. So they take up stock at a shopping mall where they believe the villain's base is among the shops, but they don't know which shop it is.
Mm-hmm.
The villain turns out to be the guy in charge of the Mexican restaurant.
Is it made obvious that he's the villain, or is it a surprise?
Kind of. So they have a few fake out ones. It's like, oh no, like we think it might be this guy because there's traces of the chemical in his store. But literally, as soon as Gru lays eyes on the guy in charge of the Mexican restaurant, Gru recognizes him as the infamous villain who, like, quote unquote, passed away, known as El Macho.
Okay.
And it's revealed at the end of the movie it is in fact El Macho, and he is in fact the one who stole the formula.
Is he as much of a meme banter as the previous villain, or is he just a bit lame?
Vector. Not real now.
Oh, never mind then.
Yeah. El Macho's not as much of a... Like, Vector was memorable because he was a meme.
Yeah.
And he knew, and like, the creators knew he was a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got El Macho, who is the actual villain. And it says like he's been kidnapping Gru's minions and injecting them with this formula to turn them into these purple minions who are nigh indestructible. Because that's what we need, those fucking headaches being unkillable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think about it, this guy is the worst villain.
Yeah, he just sounds... He's just evil beyond belief. I forgot that was his plan.
Yeah,
what an evil,
he was going to use this army of indestructible purple minions to take over the world.
Yeah, and to
you
take
didn't
over
be
the box
indestructible
office.
to do that.
And to take over the box office as well and ruin the film industry.
Yeah. Again, I don't think... Again, Illumination beat him to that one.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, so, that happens, and... Yeah. So Gru, along with, like, with the other agents, work together to try and beat El Macho. And turns out Gru tried to go into the jam industry, and turns out he makes really bad jam.
What a lunatic.
So they combined a, like, cure for the formula with the jam, and use it as a weapon to turn the minions back to normal.
Oh.
El Macho, realizing he's losing, takes a dose of the formula himself, turning himself to a large, purple, nigh-indestructible monster. But he's still beaten because, of course.
Yeah.
Because that's one of the big things like I found weird about this. It's like the entire movie they're building up that beings who take this formula are like nigh indestructible, and yet he still loses.
Daft, innit?
Yeah.
What would you say about Despicable Me 2 overall? What's the strength and the weakness?
It's not as good as the first one. It's an obvious cash grab. I guess El Macho can be entertaining, and there are some jokes in it. Like, one of Gru's daughters falls in love with a boy, and Gru goes into overprotective parrot mode. It's the stereotypical jokes you can get from that.
Yeah.
It's a dad who's overprotective of his daughter being into, like, the opposite sex. Because, like, that's a joke we haven't seen a 1,000 times.
At least they're trying.
Yeah, it's inoffensively bad, if that makes sense. Like, it's worse than the first. I'm standing by that one. But
Okay.
it's also the minions play a massive role in the story more than they did originally. Is awful. Because it means you have to deal with more of that.
I see.
But on the whole, it's inoffensively bad. Like, you can probably stomach a watch. You know?
Okay. On to number 3 then. I haven't seen that. I must have remembered it advertised because I remembered that it was... I thought I'm mistaken his brother for the second one. But yeah.
Yeah, no, okay, so Despicable Me 3 there is another villain, so no shock, running muck known as Balthazar Brath. He's a very, he embodies the 80s, I think. So for, his heist music is bad from Michael Jackson.
Oh.
He has, fucking shoulder pads, he dances a lot. He has, one of those weird guitar keyboard things. One was what he, has, weapons based on gum and a Rubik's Cube and a yo-yo. He, he's just the 80s as a villain.
I mean, fair play to him, I guess.
Yeah. But,
Sounds
the idea
like a bit
is
of a mad lad.
stolen this giant fuck-off ruby that he's using to power a, robot. Gru failing to catch him and being humiliated at the very beginning of the movie. Yeah. And, ends up being fired from the business. The secret agents thing. From the first one. From the second. Which when Gru then finds out he has a twin from his mom after finding some old pictures. He goes to visit his twin, who is really rich, somewhat successful, and has a full head of hair.
So Gru's jello.
A head of hair actually is a plot point.
What?
So when Gru first meets his brother, he doesn't like him because his brother has a full head of hair.
That's a bit worrying.
Yeah. Now, it turns out Gru's dad was also a villain. And Gru's brother wants to be a villain. So the two end up working together to try and steal the ruby from Brath, which Gru paints to his brother as them, stealing it back to use it for their own plot. But in reality, he's using it to try and get back into the organization. This leads to your stereotypical, drama between brothers storyline. Right? And, yeah. So there's the obvious mid-movie fight between the brothers that happens.
Yeah, my opinion's open.
Yep. And, then they get to the climax where Brath's planning to send an entire country into space.
What?
Using this device.
What a lunacy.
Basically, so the idea behind Brath's character is he played a villain on TV and was very famous for it until he hit puberty. And then he got fired from the show.
That's what, people weren't happy that he was growing up.
Yeah, because he played a villain kid, but as he grew up, obviously fans went away from that.
Oh, okay.
So he went a bit mental because of that, and became an actual villain.
I mean,
And one of the episodes from his show, which is actually what his plan is based off of, involved him using a giant robot version of one of his toys, his merch, to launch the countries into space using his gum, weapon.
I wonder what they're on when they came up with this.
I don't know.
I'm jealous of what they're on, man.
Yeah, so Gru and his brother end up besting Brath, and then Gru has a last showdown with him in a dance battle. You heard that right.
I mean, this is just quality filmmaking, isn't it? At its finest.
Yeah, legit, that's the last battle, is Gru has a dance battle against Brath.
I mean, this trilogy, how far did Gru come after the first one? He learns to become a parent and, look after kids and not become a villain and try and do good things.
There's been nothing new to his arc from any of the other films other than them adding in stuff. The first one, he got a family and, learned to be a parent. I guess in the next one, he gets a love interest, and thus his kids now have a mother.
Yeah.
And he finds out he has a brother, which comes out of literally nowhere. And the villain is just something.
I think that was just really... The third, okay, maybe that was taking his character somewhere in the second one, a little bit. Not much, though. The problem is...
I guess one actual good thing about the third one, the minions don't play as big a role in it.
That sounds good.
Yeah, so the minions end up leaving Gru after a while because they're fed up not being villains anymore.
Good.
They do eventually come back at the end to play a role in the climax, and then they end up going with Gru's brother, who does end up becoming a villain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but him and Gru still maintain one of those good relationships, so that they still have a good relationship, but it's one of those, like, he's a villain, the other one's an agent designed to catch villains, so there's a lot of hijinks there now.
Mm-hmm.
But the minions now work for Gru's brother at the end of the movie.
Okay. I'm just going to quickly look up. I don't think they are doing a fourth one, because why would
I
they?
hope they don't.
Because the thing is, there'd be no point. Hold on,
I literally do not see a way they could continue it.
Oh no.
Are they making a fourth?
It says on Wikipedia, Despicable Me 4 is the upcoming fourth installment in the Despicable Me film series. The release date is currently unknown. That's so bizarre. So they're going to make a fourth one, and they're going to make The Rise of Gru in 2021. There's 6 films in this universe. What's going on in this bloody Despicable Me?
It didn't need more than one.
Yeah. I mean,
An argument, I guess, could be made for 2, but definitely not fucking 6.
Yeah, that's just bizarre.
Yeah, so, yeah. So, because in the end credit scene of, 3, it's just filled with a bunch of jokes of Gru trying to catch his brother and failing, while his brother is, still being his brother.
Okay. I might look up that dance off at the end.
Yeah. So like I said, even though Gru and his brother are technically on opposite sides of the whole thing, they still have that kind of relationship with their brother still. But at the same time, Gru is still trying to catch him because villain. So the end credits is just filled with jokes like that.
What a bag of arse. Oh well.
Yeah, like I said it's. I don't know if it's as bad as 2 or not, but it definitely was not needed, and it felt kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like I said, just from that description of the story I gave there, you can already, sort of figure out half the jokes they're going for.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a bag of arse, as I say, the third one. But at least we'll move on to something good now, with How to Train Your Dragon.
No, I've been looking forward to this one since we started this podcast.
Yeah, might be one of the best film. Well, it is one of the best films we'll talk about.
Yeah. So just I'm going to clear this point up now. How to Train Your Dragon 1 is one of the best animated films out there.
Yeah.
There's no contest on that. The others aren't bad either, honestly. They don't. I think yes, How to Train Your Dragon 2 and 3 don't hold up as much as the first, but they're not bad.
Yeah.
You know, and each of them do technically still cover an arc.
They do. Well, the second one did. I haven't seen the third one, but yeah.
The third one apparently finishes Hiccup's arc fully.
In a good way.
I haven't quite had a chance to see it either, but I know a few things about it.
Yeah.
So I can give a little bit of a prefix on the third one, but I can't give a proper in-depth analysis at this moment.
Mhm.
Because I haven't actually had a chance to see it myself properly yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, so How to Train Your Dragon 1. We're gonna so we haven't got the main moves to cover on this podcast as normal, so I think we can go a bit more in depth on these.
Yeah, sure.
Which, to be fair, I feel like they need, because it's the only way to do them justice.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay. So, How to Train Your Dragon once. Yes, How to Train Your Dragon 1 follows the story of a Viking known as Hiccup. He is the weakest Viking in his tribe, and is the son of the village chief, who generally feels very, a bit disgraced by that, because Vikings are supposed to be, big and burly, and Hiccup is anything but.
Yeah.
So there's that. Their village is kind of plagued by dragons, which keep coming in and stealing the fish. And not fish, animals.
The sheep, yeah, and whatever.
Yeah, the sheep. Basically, they keep stealing the livestock. Hiccup, Hiccup ends up using a trap he creates to catch a Night Fury.
Which is the rarest dragon that no one has ever caught.
Yeah, no, I think the way to describe it is, it's no one's ever seen it. It never steals food, and it never misses.
Yeah.
The Night Fury is the most dangerous dragon they have in their book, because if no one sees it, it destroys entire outposts by itself, and the Hiccup ends up downing it with this machine, and he goes to search for it.
I just want to say quickly, what I like about it is how Hiccup was frowned upon. Oh, he's the weakest, blah, 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 blah. What a loser. Oh, I'm ashamed of your son. but Hiccup was the only one who could capture that dangerous dragon, and he used his mind.
Yeah, he used his mind to catch it.
He used his natural ability.
Yeah, he uses intelligence to bring it down. So, Hiccup goes and searches for the downed Night Fury, and he finds it caught in his trap, obviously. But when he gets there, he lets it go instead of killing it. Even though he knows that if he killed it, he would have achieved great status in the village.
Yeah, which makes the audience really respect Hiccup.
Yeah, and it's actually explained later, like when he's asked why he didn't kill them, is because they look just as scared as he was.
Yeah.
Because the idea, one of the big things about this movie is they paint the dragons are just as sympathetic as the people. You know? Yeah, so, so the majority of the village go to try and find the dragon's nest in order to drive them off, and in the meantime, Gobber, one of the village blacksmith, is in charge of training,
the teenagers.
Dragon hunters.
Yeah.
While they do so, Hiccup, of course, is put in this training reluctantly by his father.
Yeah.
So it is explained a bit in the first. So his father seems it, but his father actually is very overprotective of Hiccup, and this is explained in the second movie, which we'll get to when we get to that.
Mm.
But it's one of those, he's overprotected to a point he doesn't realize he's the one doing the most damage to Hiccup.
Yeah.
You know? It's that type of, he's overprotective to that point that he doesn't realize he's the one doing the majority of the damage to Hiccup.
Mm.
And we'll get to that in time. So, Gobber convinces Hiccup's dad, who is stoic, to put Hiccup into dragon training. Along with the dragon training, Hiccup starts, visiting the Night Fury, because he realizes that it hasn't left the island.
Because its wing was damaged.
Yeah, he discovers that one of its wings on its tail was damaged because of his trap, when he shot it down. Feeling obviously bad for that, Hiccup crafts a new one, but he has to connect it to a saddle that which he has to use on a foot pedal in order to open and close the fan on the back in order to allow the dragon to fly. Hiccup and Toothless eventually build this bond, where Hiccup gains the dragon's trust, the dragon lets him ride it, and so much, and they eventually lead to this relationship there of the two need to work in unison to fly. You know?
Yeah.
And on top of this, Hiccup starts learning more and more about dragons and realizes that everything the Vikings knew about them was completely wrong. You know?
Yeah.
Eventually, Toothless, he names the dragon Toothless because it has the ability to retract its teeth. Yeah. Eventually one of the other Vikings in the village finds Toothless, who is Astrid, who basically is Hiccup's love interest.
And she's also quite a good character.
She is, yeah. Because, she's scared when she first sees Toothless and tries to tell the village, but then she agrees to Hiccup's ultimatum of letting him show her, what it's like to, fly a dragon. And she actually, accepts the situation and tries to help him from there, you know?
Mm.
Astrid is actually a really good character, also, the fucking flying scenes are animated so well.
Yeah, you gotta give him props, especially considering it was 2010.
Yeah, they animated the flying scene fucking beautifully. So, afterwards, Hiccup takes Astrid and... Toothless takes Hiccup and Astrid to the dragon's nest, where they find out that the livestock they've been stealing isn't for them. They're feeding it to their queen, which, funny enough, actually does have a name.
What's the queen's name?
It's named in the book, or at least its species.
What is it?
The Red Death, apparently.
Oh, bloody hell.
There's more than one of them in the book as well, because there's a Green Death as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so they're an actual legit, species of dragon, of, the colored deaths. They're basically dragon queens, and are often the ones leading nests.
Yeah.
Other than... Well, there is a king, but that's explained in the second one, which is Bewilderbeast.
At least, though...
Get the second one.
At least the dragons aren't just being bellends for no reason. They have a reason to do this, otherwise they'll get eaten.
Yeah, if they don't bring back a significant amount of food, the Red Death eats them instead. As we see it do with a Gronkle, which is one of the dragon types we meet when it brings back a single fish, while the others are bringing back sheep, sharks, other things.
The Gronkles are adorable, man. I was so
They
upset
are,
when
yeah.
I was so gutted when they bloody killed it when she ate it.
Yeah. So Hiccup, using the knowledge he's gained of dragons in his training, ends up being picked as the one to kill the monstrous nightmare, another dragon species known for setting itself on fire in front of the village. However, he tries to use his abilities like he did on Toothless to pacify it instead and show it he didn't mean any harm. But his dad, getting frustrated, smacks the bars of the cage with a hammer, which sets the dragon off, and it starts attacking Hiccup.
Yeah.
Toothless, sensing this, climbs out of the canyon where he's been staying and charges into the village to save Hiccup from the dragon.
What a loyal beast.
Yeah, that's one of the big points of How to Train Your Dragon is once you've earned a dragon's loyalty, there's nothing it won't do for you.
Yeah.
So after, chasing off the monstrous nightmare, the rest of the village realizing, oh, the Night Fury, they end up capturing Toothless, and Hiccup and his dad have a fight, where his dad is, says he's ashamed to call Hiccup his son now, because all this time his son had been tricking them, and all this. But it's actually a really cool detail I like about this scene, I'm about to explain now. When Stoic closes the door, it doesn't stay shut, as you know, it opens. And if you look at Stoic's face when it cuts to him after he stormed out, you can see he regrets what he said instantly.
Yeah.
Just by the look on his face, you can tell he regrets what he just said instantly, but he has to keep to it.
Mhm.
Which I really like that. So Astrid, Hiccup, and some of the other kids, who are being trained to be dragon hunters, end up going along with Hiccup, and they use some of the captured dragons to get to the nest. The Vikings had got to the nest first, obviously using Toothless to find it, and had began their attack. But when they opened the nest, the dragons all flew away instead of attacking. And the reason for that was, the Red Death was on its way out, and they had never seen a dragon like it, and it wiped out all their ships and trapped them on the island with it. Hiccup's dad, at this point realizing the mistake he had made, was willing to sacrifice himself to buy the rest of the Vikings time to get away. Right? At which point the other dragon riders arrive and use their dragon to try and fight off the Red Death. The entire time they're doing this, Hiccup is trying to free Toothless. Eventually, the situation, you can imagine, does not start working out, because tricks they have to use to disorient the Red Death is working on their own dragons. Using noise to disorient it. Mm-hmm. Which I actually do like, is that keeps continuity, that they said that loud noise disorients dragons, so they use it on the Red Death to disorient that, but then they also reveal that it also affects their own dragon, because continuity, which is good.
So they're taking a bit of a gamble.
Yeah. Eventually, Stoic frees Toothless after the thing Toothless is attached to falls into the water, and Hiccup gets on top of Toothless, and they join the fight. And here's what I like about this: Hiccup and Toothless beat the Red Death, but they use it using knowledge to a degree. So they get the Red Death to fall them into the clouds where it can't see them, because that's where Toothless specializes in, ambushes. And so I don't know if you noticed this, but did you when they're in the clouds, you know how they keep striking the Red Death as when Toothless flies past?
Yeah.
I didn't notice this the first time, but they're actually targeting a specific section of the Red Death. They're targeting the wings.
Oh, okay.
They're making holes in the wings with each of the strikes.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So after that, they dive down to get the Red Death to follow them. So they reveal that dragons have a gas in them that they ignite to breathe their fire. So when the Red Death's getting ready to do a fire breath, Hiccup has Toothless shoot a bolt into its mouth to ignite the gas before it could breathe it out.
Yeah.
And then the Red Death, realizing it's approaching the ground, tries to use its wings to slow down its descent. But because of the holes they made in the wings, the air pressure pushing through them makes the holes larger.
Yeah.
causing the Red Death to crash and die.
And explode.
Yeah, basically, because the gas inside it got ignited.
But then Hiccup falls into the explosion, doesn't he? But Toothless saves him at the last second.
Yeah, as they're trying to fly away, like, the Red Death's tail catches them, and Hiccup falls into the explosion, with Toothless going in to try and save it.
Yeah.
It's revealed that Hiccup did survive, but he lost a leg, or at least a foot.
Yeah.
But thanks to Hiccup's, like, actions and stuff, the village and dragons now live in peace.
They coexist. So.
Yeah, this story is fun enough. There's actually cartoons based off of How to Train Your Dragon that are actually canon and have events in them that lead up for the second movie.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, there's Dragons Riders of Berk and Defenders of Berk, which is season 2, and then there's Dragons Race to the Edge, which is setting up the second movie.
Yeah.
Because it ends with the Bewilder Beast, which we know is the Dragon King. Second.
Fair dues.
Yeah, and the cartoons actually aren't bad either. Like, they actually do continue Hiccup's arc.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so, that's How to Train Your Dragon 1. I gave a really deep analysis of this one, because it's one of my favourite movies, and as I said, we can't talk much about the third, so we may as well use a bit about the second and third first.
Yeah, I'll just say quickly, How to Train Your Dragon, I also think it's great as well. Can't really think of much wrong with it, really. Fantastic.
Yeah, it's just an overall fantastic movie.
Yeah.
It is just a really good movie.
Totes Malotes.
Yeah. So, How to Train Your Dragon 2. The dragons and Vikings of that tribe now live coexisting in harmony, and Hiccup, is finding new islands and new species of dragon. His dad, Stoic, wants him to be the new chief, though, and believes Hiccup is ready. Right? But, at this time, they find out about another a person known as Drago Bloodfist. I know they say it as fist, but the way it's spelled is like Vist.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so even though it said Drago Bloodfist, it's pronounced Vist.
Yeah.
I'm stating that one now. Yeah, so they reveal that he's this man who can control the dragons and is an absolute madman who kills without reason. And he has an army of armored dragons. But it is revealed later how he controls the dragons, though.
Doesn't he sort of like scream or something, or like wave his stick around?
Kind of, but there's actually an explanation to why that does that. That's actually I'll get to that when I get to it. So they, exploring around, find a group of dragon hunters who have been capturing dragons for Drago. Right? But there's also another dragon rider who's been freeing those dragons before they can give them to Drago. Oh. This person is revealed to be Toothless's mom, who we thought was dead in the first movie.
Hiccups, I think. Or is it Tooth?
Yeah, Hiccup, sorry, yeah Hiccup. As for why they thought she was dead, it's because during one of the attacks on the village by the dragons, she was taken by one of the dragons, known as Storm Chaser.
But she just turns out to be a Dragon Queen master. Yeah,
she learned the same things Hiccup did about the dragons, that they're actually gentle creatures, and she ends up using that knowledge to live and protect them.
Yeah, which is quite nice.
Her signature dragon, and the one she rides, is known as Storm Chaser. He is a 4-winged dragon and is fucking huge. Yeah, so there's that. Hiccup's dad eventually finds where Hiccups was taken. So, on his way to meet with Bloodfist, as Hiccup's doing, his mom kind of takes him, but she doesn't know it's him yet. Right? But after they have that realization, his mom starts showing him more stuff about the dragons, including introducing him into their nest's alpha, the Bewilder Beast, which is the Dragon King, as we right. So, yeah, Stoic eventually does find the nest as well, because he uses one of his dragon. Oh yeah, Stoic has a dragon in the second one, which he actually gets in the cartoon. You know,
some cheeky in between stuff there.
Yeah, I told you, like, the cartoon actually set stuff up for the second movie. Even though it came out after the second movie, it sets up the points for it.
It's nice
Yeah,
that they put that sort of effort into it, even though I'm assuming not loads and loads and loads of people watched it, but some people probably watched it, so...
I used to watch it with my mom, and it actually was a decent show.
No,
and
that's
apparently
good.
actually did use canon characters from the books.
Okay.
Yeah, like, none of the characters in the show were made up for the show, almost. A lot of them were actual canon characters in the books.
It's good that...
How to Train Your Dragon was based off of.
It's good they're making work off the source material.
Yeah, because the main villain of the Dragon series is known as Alvin the Treacherous, and he is actually a character in the books, and is the villain of the books as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so... Yeah. So, yeah, So, Stoic and Hiccup's mom, I think it's like Valga or something. I don't know her name. It was like, it definitely began with a vowel. I just don't remember the rest. You know, they end up rejoining and becoming a team again, and like that. And at which point Drago attacks the nest to claim those dragons, and this is where it's revealed why he can control dragons. He has a bewildered beast of his own.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
And you know that weird thing he does, like he waves his stick and screams?
Yeah.
That's him signaling the bewildered beast to use its ability.
Mm.
Because it's an alpha, it has the ability to take control of other dragons that aren't already claimed by an alpha and make them do what it wants. In the case of two alphas fighting, it's the alpha that wins takes control of the other's nest. Which is what happens when Drago's Bewildered Beast arrives, as both Bewildered Beasts fight as a battle of alphas, with the nest one losing to Drago's.
Yeah.
And because of that, like, Drago's Bewildered Beast takes control of the entire nest, and Drago's army is now quadrupled in size. At which point he then goes to attack Burke. He uses the Bewildered Beast to take control of Toothless, which Drago now claims as his own mount. You know, like, so Dragon Mount.
Yeah.
And he makes it attack Hiccup. Stoic getting in the way to protect Hiccup gets blasted and dies. Also, I will say, I give this movie props for actually having the balls to kill off a character.
Yeah, he was quite a good character as well. I was quite gutted about that.
Yeah, like, he was actually a good character. Like, he had pretty good development across the movies as well. So I applaud that they actually did have the balls to kill him off properly. Like, it's not a fake-out death either. You see them have the funeral for him. Not a lot of anime movies have the balls to do that nowadays.
I mean,
they'll do a fake-out.
I like that they did some of that ballsy, but at the same time, I sort of felt like it was out of nowhere and shocking, but they didn't really grieve over it that much, and Hiccup didn't really...
I didn't think they had the time to, if you think about it, because Drago was on his way to Burke with a literal army of dragons. I don't think they had the time to grieve over it properly.
Yeah, but it just
in that situation, I imagine they wanted to, but it's one of those, well, we can't sit here and grieve forever. Like, Drago's going to our village, and he's going to destroy it.
Yeah, but I meant, like, mentally in Hiccup's mind, it didn't, you know, I thought it might have...
I think it continues playing in the third one, funny enough. But as I haven't seen, I only know a few parts, so I can't guarantee for sure.
Fair enough.
That's it. I plan to watch the third one tomorrow, so I'll give you an update if it does actually continue playing a part.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so Hiccup using baby dragons, because baby dragons don't actually fall under the effect of an alpha yet, due to their young age.
Mm-hmm.
It just is explained earlier in the movie as well, so that's not a cop-out. They actually did it. They actually explained that previously. You know? Like, well, Hiccup's mother did, explained previously in the movie that baby dragons don't, kind of answer to no one. They just do what they want.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so actually, there is actually an explanation to why they use baby dragons to get to Burke, even though the ride, as you can imagine, is a bit uncontrollable.
Yeah.
They get to Burke, and they have a plan to distract the Bewilder Beast while, Hiccup reconvenes with Toothless to get control of them again. Or, well, no, I say get control, it's more so get them out of Drago's control. Since as long as the Bewilder Beast is focusing on him, Hiccup is under that influence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean... I do
Yeah.
like how it expands the universe in the second one. How there isn't just dragons near Berk. There's dragons all over the world.
Yeah, the cartoons do that as well, because you see them go to different islands and meet entirely new species of dragons.
Pretty
Some of them
cool.
are really, cool. So if you want to see more of the universe, I actually do recommend the cartoons, because it does actually expand it.
Yeah, I might watch them. I did try watching
Yeah.
them years and years ago on Netflix, but there was just other stuff that I wanted to watch.
Yeah, Riders of Berk just follows after the first movie, and it's just like, it doesn't expand it too much, but there are a few new dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Defenders of Berk expands on it even more, and Race the Edge is probably the one that has the most dragons in it, like in terms of new types.
Okay.
Yeah. If you just want to see new dragons, I would say watch Race to the Edge. If you want to actually see the story expanded, though, like in terms of more characters as well as dragons, watch the other two first. Yes, they're all worth a watch. They're kind of good. But yeah.
So overall, I guess the second one's quite good.
Yeah.
Not as good as the first.
I still got some analysis for the second one.
Okay.
Sorry. Alright, so, after bringing Toothless from the Bewilder Beast, the boys blast them with an ice breath it can do, and so at this point, Toothless evolves into an alpha as well, and challenges the Bewilder Beast to a one-on-one to protect Hiccup.
Mm-hmm.
Toothless ends up winning, and the other dragons slowly eventually go to Toothless's side, and they chase the Bewilder Beast off along with Drago. Toothless is then named Chief of the Tribe, which is what his dad wanted. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm done.
So then he gets to a higher level.
Yeah. Oh yeah, real quick, so remember I mentioned earlier that, like, Stoic was really overprotective of Hiccup?
Yeah.
The reason for that was because he thought his wife was dead, so Hiccup was all he had left for her. That's why Stoic's really protective of Hiccup, to a point of actually doing damage. So that's the explanation on that one. But
Okay.
yeah. So, How to Train Your Dragon 3. Neither of us have seen this.
True.
I know a few things though. It follows on from a plot point from the Race the Edge TV show with dragon hunters, including the main dragon they ride being the main villain dragon of the TV show Race to the Edge, or the main ones they ride in that show. Yeah, Hiccup is now the chief, and they find a mate for Toothless known as the White Fury.
That's nice.
It's basically a white version of a knife. So I'm guessing I haven't seen the movie, so I'm guessing there's a love plot there between those two.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know a bit about the ending.
Okay.
Apparently, in the ending, Hiccup. So this is what ends Hiccup's development and his arc. In the end, Hiccup has to make a choice, and that choice is he has to let the dragons go to keep all of them safe.
Oh.
So, in the end of the movie, he willingly lets Toothless and the other dragons leave so they can be safe.
That's quite deep.
Yeah. Because there's a line during the epilogue at the end where Hiccup said, like, in our world, there used to be dragons.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Instead of, like, there are dragons. And the idea of that is, like, dragons have somewhat become a secret now to keep them safe.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, also in the prologue, we do see Hiccup, like, as a full-on adult. He's married Astrid now and has 2 kids. They actually go and find Toothless's nest and his mate, and the two reconnect again. But they don't, they don't go back together, if that makes sense. It's just one of the things they're just visiting.
That's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, no, so, I said I haven't seen the third one, so that's all I know about the third one, so that's all I can give on analysis.
It's kind of cool that Hiccup and Toothless, like, they had good laughs. It's sort of like good friends in real life, you know. Most people just settle down and have a family and they don't see their friends that much, but it's sort of the same in this, you know. Hiccup's settled down now and Toothless has moved away, and I know it isn't the same. They were forced to go apart and it was for Toothless's safety, but still, quite deep, really. Sounds quite a good way to end it. Bittersweet.
Yeah.
So the film's just about hunters, like dragon hunters, going after people and dragons.
Yeah, kind of.
Fair enough.
But I think, again, I haven't actually seen it.
Do people say it's any good or a load of crap? Or?
Apparently it is rated very high.
I
It
hope...
had like a 91 on Rotten Tomato.
Okay, fair enough.
The second one had a 93 and the first had a 95.
Yeah.
But either way, it was a good... I personally think it was still a good movie. Well, again, I haven't actually... Well, the second one I thought was really good. I haven't seen it. I'll be watching the third one tomorrow, so if we choose to do a fifth part to this, when James is caught up to more animated movies, I'll give a proper analysis then.
Yeah.
When I can actually give one, because I would have seen the movie by then, I think.
Yeah, I think this is the fifth part, to be fair. So, sixth part.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, correction. If we manage to do a sixth then, where James is caught up to more recent animated movies, then I'll come back and do a proper analysis of it.
Fair enough.
For now, that's about the extent of what I can give as an analysis.
So yeah, next film, Brave.
Brave wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. It
Me
wasn't
neither.
terrible, and it wasn't bad, but it wasn't as good as the trailers built it up.
Yeah.
The trailers built it up to be as like a fucking epic, you know. So the way the trailers brought it up, made it look like this like epic adventure. The actual movie turns out to just be a general rebellious teen not wanting to conform to norm.
Yeah.
Which is a little disappointing that that's what they went with. But it's not a terrible movie. Basically, it follows a princess known as Meredith, I believe. I might be wrong on the name though. Oh no, it's like Era now, I believe. I don't know. It was one of the two. Basically, she's the more adventurous type. She likes to do archery and stuff and go adventuring, but her mother wants her to be a stereotypical princess.
Yeah.
So that's the conflict of the movie. Her dad is the current king, because the movie takes place in Scotland, but also her dad is a legend because he survived an encounter with Mordu, which is known as the Demon Bear. Basically a bear that's been borderline unkillable. It's got weapons sticking out its back from previous fights, it's covered in scars, and the thing just refuses to fucking die. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. It's, yeah. She ends up, like, going... Yeah, sorry, you keep zoning out.
Okay.
She ends up going to a witch in the woods and asking for a spell to change her fate. The spell ends up turning her mother into a bear.
Which is quite weird, but I suppose...
I mean, it hints very heavily that that's what's going to end up happening because the witch's cottage is filled with bear-themed things. Like bear-themed carvings and all sorts. And it's kind of hinted at later on, earlier on as well, like, that her theme seems to be around bears. Because she mentions a prince came to her and wanted a spell to make him as strong as 10 men in exchange for a medallion.
And then he just became a bear.
Yeah, so that prince is actually Mordu, the demon bear.
Jesus.
It's revealed. So that's actually revealed. So the mother has a story she tells her daughter, which is about a kingdom that was once prosperous, where the king passed and gave a quarter of the kingdom to each of his 4 sons. But the eldest son wanted the full kingdom and went to war about it, eventually leading to the kingdom's destruction. They end up at the ruins to this fortress via following will-o-wisps, which are said to guide you to your destiny in the movie.
Oh, okay.
They get there, right? And they actually find a tapestry that explains the story. At which point Meredith Meredith, I'm going to go with Meredith for now. Right? Has like a vision of it where it actually shows the eldest brother like destroying the tapestry with an axe. and then like turns his head to the camera and it's a bear head, and that's when she has the realization that like she connects the dots.
Mm-hmm.
The witch's curse happened before. And the prince is Mordu.
Yeah.
At which point Mordu attacks them because it turns out those ruins are actually his home and his den. They end up escaping and they realize that they have to reverse the spell before sunset or her mom is going to become just a straight bear.
So have no human qualities or anything.
It's okay story, but it's not quite what people expected. Like, it's not bad. It's probably like you could probably watch it and be fine. You know? Like,
Yeah.
it's just one of those, if you look at the trailer and then watch the actual movie, it's not quite what they build up.
Mm.
So you can see, yeah. Because, again, the trailer builds it up to be this, like, weird epic. But yeah, no, so the dad ends up finding his wife as a bear and believes the bear killed his wife because he ends up going to the room and finding his wife's ripped up dress from which she turned into a bear, as well as the general damage to the room due to her panic of being a bear, right? And then finds his wife, who is a bear, in his daughter's bedroom and believes that the bear is attacking. So he ends up chasing her off, right? And they go to try and kill the bear. But Meredith goes and disarms him and tries to explain the situation to him, at which point Mordu shows up for the last combat of the movie. There's basically like an army of like people, and they're all just getting like fucking hammered by Mordu. Like their weapons are doing nothing to him. He's batting them aside like nothing really.
Okay.
And then like Mordu pins down Meredith as a bear does. I think he goes to like try and like eat her or something. At which point her mother snaps and attacks him, and then. Thus, because she's a bear, she matches him in strength. But he does end up getting the upper hand due to, he was a warrior before turning into a bear and is much bigger.
Yeah.
But they managed to... They're fighting in the middle of, these pillars of stone, which are in the forest, and it's, basically where the will-o-wisp appear. And, they end up knocking one of the pillars on top of Mordu, crushing him, which is what kills him.
Oof.
His spirit is freed and kind of thanks them for doing that, as his spirit turns into a will-o-wisp.
Okay.
So they reveal that the will-o-wisps are the spirits of those who pass, guiding others to their future.
Mm-hmm.
And that's basically what, more or less the story of the movie. That's it. Nothing super groundbreaking. Not terrible, but it's your standard, coming of age, daughter doesn't want to be this, mother wants her to be this thing, just for the magic element involving bears.
Yeah. A bit weak for Pixar, but there you go.
Yeah. And, what's our last movie on the lineup?
The final one, the final film of this series for now is Wreck-It Ralph, #1.
Okay, so this is a good one.
CBA for 2, because I heard it's just an absolute pile of trash. So.
I've seen the second one, and it's not as good as the first, but I didn't think it was terrible.
Okay, I watched Shay Thriller's video on it, and he absolutely tears it a new one, but you can talk about the second one if you want.
No, we'll do the first one for now.
Oh, cool.
Second one we'll probably do later. Because the first one's plot is pretty easy to sum up.
Exactly.
Well, but second one's plot is higher. Right, so, Wreck-It Ralph. This follows a character obviously named Ralph, who is the villain of his video game named Wreck-It Ralph. Oh no, it's Fix Felix, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way. The game is basically he has a building he wrecks, and Felix, the good guy of the game, has to fix it, while Ralph is still destroying it. If, the player can fix the entire building, they win the game, and then Ralph gets thrown off the building as the end thing. So, this has apparently been going on for 30 years, as it's his program in the game, except outside of the game, so when the game's closed, he's still treated like a villain.
Which is really bizarre.
Yeah. Like, he goes to a Villains Anonymous of Eggman and Bowser and other famous villains from games. And it's basically one of those, they're villains because of their programming, but they get treated like they're bad people. Because
Which is
they're villains.
A bit funny.
Yeah. And I think Zangief is there from Street Fighter, and he has actually a really good line to sum it up. And that's, just because you are a bad guy does not mean you are a bad guy. Which means that just because, like, they're villains of their games doesn't mean they're bad people. And a lot of them are actually kind of nice villains.
Yeah.
That we see. But as I said, they're treated like villains in their games and outside of their game because that's what they're supposed to be. Turns out this is the 30th anniversary of Ralph's game, and he was not invited to the party that Felix was holding. Which, as you can imagine, would fucking hurt.
Definitely.
Considering he's a pretty big part of the fucking game.
Without him, this whole ship sinks.
Yeah, like, without Felix or Ralph, their game, they don't have a game, and yet the Nicelanders, as they're called, don't seem to realize this until Ralph leaves.
Yeah.
So, Ralph ends up making a bet with one of the Nicelanders, known as Gene, who is an absolute dick, that if he could win a medal, which is what I think good guys get, that he gets to, like, live in the penthouse at. Well, Gene's the one who makes up that thing, because he believes Ralph will never get a medal. And they believe Ralph's not serious about this. But Ralph does end up leaving their game to try and get a medal. He ends up going to another game known as Hero's Duty, where he manages to get a medal, but not through the method you're supposed to get it. Right. Now, Hero Duty is a shooter where you have to fight these things known as cyborgs, which are basically like viruses. They don't know they're in a game, and they keep going until they've destroyed everything. The game has a beacon, which is what turns them off when the game is done. And of course, they explain in it that if you die in your game, you regenerate, but if you die outside of it, you stay dead. Oof. Which is why the soldiers in Hero's Duty are able to, like, do this, is they regenerate every time they get killed by the cyborg.
Yeah.
But the cyborgs themselves are a virus. Or at least they act like one. They don't realize they're in a game. So Ralph going there steals a medal from the tower, but accidentally frees a cyborg, and the two fall into an escape pod, which flies them into Sugar Rush, a racing game, where Ralph loses his medal and then comes across a glitch known as Vanellope. Vanellope is actually a pretty interesting character. She's a little annoying, but I think that's what her point, like, she's a little kid.
Yeah.
Kids are annoying. I think they nailed her character on the head there of that one. She's supposed to be a kid, so she's supposed to be annoying. Yeah. But she's not a bad character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her and Ralph end up making a thing, because Vanellope uses his medal as a coin to buy herself into the race. So, how Sugar Rush works is they have 18 racers, and they have a race at the end of every day where they use a coin from their past wins to enter, right? And the first 9 to cross the finish line are the next. So every day, like, there are 9 racers Sugar Rush uses, and they're randomized each day. The reason for this is there are actually 18 racers, and it's the first 9 to cross the finish line are the roster of the next day.
Yeah.
And they use the coins from the races they have won to buy in. Vanellope ends up using the Ralph's medal to buy in. But of course she's a glitch, so there's a few problems there. Ralph ends up seeing how Vanellope gets treated by the other racers because she's a glitch. And it's very similar to how he's treated, so he stands up for her. To end up making an agreement that if Vanellope just wants to be a racer, and if she wins, she can get Ralph's medal back. Right. Now, I actually really like Vanellope and Ralph's relationship here, you know?
Yeah, their chemistry.
Yeah, they actually build one up. Like, they start off not really liking each other, but slowly actually do become friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after a bit, King Candy, the leader of Sugar Rush, comes to Ralph to make a bargain. He offers Ralph his medal because King Candy has access to the game's code, and he offers that Ralph at least hear him out and explains that if Vanellope gets into the roster and the players see her glitching, their game will be put out and their plug will be pulled. Everyone else will have to leave the game, except Vanellope can't because she's a glitch, and she'll be erased forever if the plug is pulled. As happens, right? Because that's a big thing they paint out is if your plug is pulled, the world of that game is just erased, and everyone's still in the game at the time is erased as well. Oh yeah, there's something I missed here, and this is actually important for the plotline. So when Ralph's jumping games, other characters refer to it as going turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is because a racer in the past, from another racing game known as Turbo Time, who put enough his name Turbo, jumped his game to join another game because he didn't like that game was getting more fame than his game. But he ended up bringing both games out of commission because he broke both of them.
Oh, what a pillock.
Doing so, and had both plugs pulled. Because of this, it's referred to whenever a character tries to get into someone else's game as going turbo.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, Ralph, hearing King Candy out about the glitch, ends up deciding not to let Vanellope race, because if the plug gets pulled, she will get erased. But obviously she doesn't understand this. So she ends up calling Ralph a bad guy after Ralph destroys her car to stop her racing.
Mm-hmm.
Ralph goes back to his game to find out everyone had abandoned it because they feel their plug's going to get pulled in the morning because Ralph wasn't there. So, kind of wallowing in sadness here because Ralph realizes he fucked up. He looks over at the Sugar Rush arcade box and finds Vanellope is actually on the box. So he goes back to Sugar Rush and confronts one of King Candy's advisors, known as I think it's Sour Bowl, where he questions him there of if Vanellope's a glitch and wasn't supposed to exist, why is she on the game box?
Ooh.
So he reveals that King Candy got into the code and removed Vanellope's code from it, along with locking away the memories of the racers and the inhabitants, so they don't remember her as a racer. Right? And he doesn't know much more than that. But he knows that if Vanellope crosses the finish line of the race, the code is reset and she won't be a glitch anymore.
Oh, okay.
So Ralph ends up going to find Felix and gets him to fix the cart that he broke, and they take it to Vanellope, where she then enters the race again. At this point, the Cybug that came here with Ralph had multiplied and had kept evolving. Right? And basically a bunch of Cybugs start invading the game because it had been multiplying.
Yeah, decent climax.
Yep. And during this, the race comes down to Vanellope and King Candy, and King Candy starts cheating, using shortcuts that aren't allowed and stuff, and actually trying to ram Vanellope off track. Vanellope ends up having a glitch fest thing happen, where she pixelates for a second, right? And she does this during her scuffle with King Candy, and when it does, he glitches as well and reveals that he's Turbo.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's the twist of the movie, is that Turbo is actually King Candy. And he's a glitch as well. Which is why he had to hack the code. Once he got in the game. Because once Vanellope reveals it's Turbo, he starts glitching as well, like she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, Vanellope eventually gets away from him in her car, and Turbo's car ends up driving right into a Cybug, which eats him. Now, fun little detail here, the Cybug that eats Turbo was the one that came there with Ralph originally.
How can you tell?
So because you see a color pattern it has when it starts evolving.
Okay.
Because they evolve based on what they eat, and it's this one, and the one that eats Turbo has the exact same pattern.
Yeah, doesn't Ralph blow himself up to try and save everything?
Yeah, I'll get to that. So they realize that the Cybug there's too many Cybugs. They can't and they basically destroyed the finish line because they're attracted to bright colors, and the finish line is obviously something very bright. So they realize that, like, unless they have a beacon, like in Hero's Duty, they can't stop the Cybugs. And Ralph remembers they have Diet Cola Mountain, which has a bunch of Mentos at the top. And anyone who knows what happens when you put Mentos in soda knows exactly where this is going.
Yeah.
So Ralph makes his way to the top of the Cola Mountain to drop the Mentos in and create a beacon, where he is then attacked by a Cybug, which is fused with Turbo to become an even stronger virus. Because it's basically as the Cybugs become what they eat, so that Cybug actually became Turbo, but a monsterfied version.
Yeah.
Yep. So there's a climax there where, like, after a small fight where Ralph is losing, Ralph actually does end up breaking free of Turbo's grip after Turbo tries to get him to watch Vanellope die along with him. And he knocks the Mentos into the Cola with when he drops on top of it, like, punches them down as he does, which causes the Mentos to fall in.
Yeah.
Which turns the Cola Mountain into a beacon, and the Cybugs go to it and are, of course, being erased from it.
How did Ralph survive in the end, then?
Vanellope, so Vanellope has somewhat control of her glitch ability at this point, so she can use it to, like, somewhat short-range teleport through objects. So realizing when she saw Ralph falling, she started, like, teleporting past the Cybugs to get to her cart, and then drove her cart to the mountain to catch Ralph before he fell in.
What a legend.
Yeah. So that saved Sugar Rush, and then Felix fixes the finish line, and Vanellope's cart goes past it, resetting the game, and returning her as an actual player now. Ralph goes back to his game being content, because, as I said, like, and the Nicelanders actually start treating him nicely now, because they realize that, well, Ralph is just as big a part of the game. If he's gone, they don't have a game. So you could make an argument it's also a bit out of fear, because they're worried if they treat him bad, he'll leave again.
Yeah.
So you can make arguments that they're doing it out of fear or actual, like, realizing Ralph plays a role in the game.
So there might just be Belen still. Who knows?
Yeah, but he starts getting treated nicer now.
Yes, that's the main thing.
They start taking other characters who had the game plugs pulled and implementing them into bonus levels of their game.
That's nice.
Yeah, and of course Felix creates a housing area for them off screen, because basically as long as it's off screen, I think it's fine. You know what I mean? So they do that. And, and Ralph apparently still occasionally goes to visit Vanellope, as the two are basically like best friends.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I like the creativity behind it, you know, how it's it's an animated film set inside a bunch of arcade machines. I think that's quite cool.
Yeah, and I like how they use the cables between the arcade machines to, like, get in and out of the game and go to, like, the other game.
Yeah.
I do, like, it is a very creative movie, and it does make you think of, like, what happens in a game when you turn it off, like, with the characters. And it just kind of shows that in the sense that the characters all have their own personalities and live their own lives when they're not currently in-game.
Yeah. It's also, I'm thinking, though, what will happen to all the characters when the arcade shuts down? Well, it'll be the end of the world, won't it, for them, so...
Well, yeah, the idea is, like, there is that, like, middle ground area where they can go and are, and they're somewhat safe if the plug is pulled. But basically, if the plug gets pulled, they lose their world.
What about if, like, the whole arcade just shuts down and they turn all the electricity off?
And then they're stuck in that, like, middle area between the games.
Oh, so they're just stuck there for eternity, then?
Yeah.
That's pretty depressing. Is it big or small?
Actually.
Is it big or small, the area?
It's pretty big. I don't know if it would be able to accommodate every character of every game, but the ones who had their plugs pulled are there, because they can't, like, go back to the game.
So they're just permanently sealed off from all the arcade games?
I know, they can go into other games, but they haven't got their own game anymore.
Okay.
And if you remember, like, if they die outside of their game, they don't come back.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a huge risk to that based on which game they go into.
Definitely, yeah.
But yeah.
So overall, good film. I think we can wrap this series up nicely there then.
Yep, I did a lot of talking this one.
Yeah, fair play to you, man. I said in the
I knew a lot about the movies we were doing, and I wanted to give a proper analysis to do justice.
Yeah, to be honest, big shout to Scott's Twitch. Check it out. I'll put it in the description again.
Yep. I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday.
Yeah, really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been a good laugh, and hopefully we can do some more like the cartoons one. Hopefully, so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the cartoons one, but if we have to do an in-depth analysis of every cartoon, we'll be here a while.
Yeah, true, but it's a bit of witty banter.
You can't talk about cartoons and like a bunch of them quickly, and while doing an in-depth analysis, because each cartoon would need like a proper analysis of its own, and you can't give a quick one like you could a movie.
Yeah, true. It'll be a bit harder, but we'll just see how it goes, really.
Yeah, we'll try we can try like 1 or 2 parts and see if we get a formula down.
Yeah. I mean, if we can, some cartoons don't have that much about them, so they might not be too hard to get past. But some of them are quite in detail and have big universes. So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Like for example, Ed and Eddie's one of those seems like it would be easy to talk about. There's actually a lot more there than what we see.
Yeah.
As shown by the movie, really shows a lot more to Eddie's character.
Yeah. We'll probably talk about all these shows in probably 2 months or 1.5 months. It depends. I'm going to try and do a bit of research on these shows and
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus doing this like almost weekly does take a lot out of you.
It does. Yeah. So it's best to probably leave it for 1.5 months, 2 months, or even longer. Just depends. So
yeah, especially when you have to like research the things you're like talking about in terms of like the movie.
Yeah. But yeah, thanks for watching, and see you in the next one then.
Yeah. See ya.